today we're crossing over with the other show, Serving Up Comics, so we could finally talk about comic books on the show again. Because I think you, Diego, you were like, I don't want to talk about comics anymore, but it's okay. The Superman won you back, but this is a live episode, so we're doing it live. But welcome, Diego, my co-host. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, my friend. Yes,
Mhm.
this we'll talk about it. This when we back to the main show conversation about comic book movies. Well, we'll get
Yeah.
more into that, but yeah, I'm sending out the link, so please keep taking it
Oh
away.
yeah, no, I'll keep talking, but want to welcome a good friend of mine back to the show, Jordan Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm good. And are we live in that? Like, are there going to be fans and all that? Like, how's this?
Yeah. We're just we'll just
Yeah,
have
there'll be
people,
commenters in a
yeah,
second.
Okay.
come
This
in.
just started, so it'll
Yeah.
New to this. Okay.
happen. Oh yeah,
No,
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 you're doing great. You're
you're all
doing great.
good.
All right.
But welcome back. For anyone, if this is like anyone's first episode that's listening, introduce yourself.
Oh, for me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Who you talking? Yeah. So my name is I go by Jay Mitch. I also go by Jordan. That's my actual name. I am a writer, comedian. I teach. What else do I do? I do a number of things.
Yeah.
How's it going, youth critic? So yeah, I've known Gene for a minute, known Diego for a little bit less than that, but just here, I was invited to talk about the the hero of the hour, all over
Mhm.
Twitter. I've been following. I've been looking at the responses, so I'm just happy to really dig into it.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah, it's because we've known each other I think like 10 years now, but
Hmm.
also I think going to some of the classes we had, probably we were the only DC fans.
Oh
So I
yeah,
remember talking to you when Justice League was coming out, and
hmm
it was like, or BVS, excuse me,
yeah.
and like for BVS, like it was like just kind of just seeing like all the stuff that was coming out, and just knowing someone that's read like Superman, like Birthright or like For All Seasons, which we'll get to later. But yeah, it's cool to have you on to talk this movie because it feels like we're finally like vindicated as DC fans, you know?
Yeah, I would say so. Well, I think it's a little bit more complex. Like it, yeah, but there's an energy. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a you
Hmm.
know you've probably seen the 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 people are basically, it's like Man of Steel. Like people are talking about Man of Steel a lot. Again,
Yeah,
it's like it's just very very weird how a new like I said, we'll get into it. We'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
into it. Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, I guess just a little more background
Hmm.
on everyone here for the Superman stuff. I don't want to do. I think there's some internet circles, anyways. In real life, this conversation does not apply, but we're on the internet right now, so let's talk about it.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
The Snyder and the gun stuff. Like it's not a versus thing. They were on a Rick and Morty cameo episode together or something. Like they're
Yeah.
friends. They've been
Yeah.
pals. This isn't about that. I just think looking back like 10 plus years now, I'm not a Man of Steel guy. I appreciate a lot of the approaches
Hmm.
those movies took, and I even like BVS.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we need swings like that to also appreciate stuff like this, because if
Hmm.
this was what we were getting for 10 plus years as well, by now I think we would also be a little tired of it.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean it wouldn't be good. I think it's just, sometimes we do have to change up approaches. And I think it wasn't an invalid take on the franchise back then. I think it was just clear people didn't want that. And I think that's okay too. How do you guys look back at that era of DC movies, I guess? Man of Steel to before James Gunn took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, I mean, now that it's like in the rear view mirror, which is like interesting because it's like me and Diego were just talking about the unfortunate end, which was with Black Adam, and then like three other movies came out, but that like shifted the, I guess, the leadership to be like reboot it all. But it was kind of, yeah, just speaking freely, it was like pretty hit or miss. For some, like the hits were when it really hit, it was really fun. Like, like Man of Steel for me personally, Aquaman even. Seeing like a cool Aquaman, like years and years of being like telling people no, he's cool, and then you're like, oh, okay, like people finally believed you. So that was yeah, that was great. But yeah, no, just thinking back, like it felt kind of like just like weird because it's like some of it was like reverse engineered to be like an MCU universe when originally it was just supposed to be Man of Steel, just supposed to be like its own film. So and like there wasn't really a whole lot of like a plan basically for like Zack Snyder. It was just they were gonna come together to do Justice League, but like for Marvel, like it was always like Thanos, introduce like Thanos, and then like introduce like the Infinity Gauntlet. Like there's more than like one sort of thing. So it's like just for some of the DC films, like I still enjoy them for the DC expanded universe, but yeah, it just feels like really strange. I guess just now they're just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one thing I will say is that era had plenty of films, plenty of opportunities to give us something to be consistent. Like when you look at the amount of movies that talking about Black Adam, I like Black Adam, but I can recognize that Black Adam wasn't very good, right?
Yeah.
Birds of Prey, the first Suicide Squad. Um, yeah, Birds of Prey, the first Suicide Squad. I mean, The Flash was a pretty big disaster. Shazam too. It's like they had something, but there was just a lot of mismanagement in regards to Man of Steel. I mean, look, as we talk about the current Superman, I am still a fan of Man of Steel. And I don't think it's something that we should just kind of toss away. I do think it was a valid film. I actually do like BVS as a movie that took some swings, but Warner Brothers didn't believe in it, and we all know what happened as a result of that. So I'm glad that we have that era of movies, and hopefully, this new era of DC will be better, maybe more consistent in regards to just being innovative. I'm not quite sure what to really expect at a James Gunn, because really this is riding on his back in a similar way that the MCU rode on Kevin Feige's back. So
Yeah.
Now, do I have faith in James Gunn? I have a little less faith in James Gunn than I did before, to be honest with you.
Okay.
A little less faith, but not to say that I'm like apprehensive. I'm probably gonna check out Supergirl and Clayface and see what they're doing next. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important context going into this because everyone also has an idea of what Superman is to them. So we can backtrack a little further before we get to the actual movie discussion, because I know Gene wanted to talk about this. Just our history with Superman comics. Like Jay, you got the shirt on. Like what are you repping here today?
Yeah. So in terms of the Superman comics I used to read as a kid.
Yeah. Or any of that.
So I didn't have a whole lot of money to buy books as a kid. So one of the books I would usually buy would be Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe another Ultimate books, right? But if I was reading some DC stuff, then my go-to was Superman Batman by Jeff Loeb.
Jeff Loeb. Yeah.
Jeff Loeb and Ed Guinness. And Ed Guinness drew every single superhero with like these massive muscles. He drew the on Incredible Hulk back then. So every character was was huge, So he had this really cool, especially as a kid, like every character was bulky, had big jaws and stuff like that. But the art was really cool. And the first arc was, Lex Luthor was the president, trying to, frame Superman for this kryptonite meteor that's headed towards Earth, and Batman and Superman are fugitives, and they're fighting villains, and they fight all the villains. They fight all the they fight the heroes, and
Mhm.
Superman comes back from the future. It's a crazy. They made Public Enemies is what it's called.
Yeah.
Public Enemies. I went on to read the second volume, which debuted Supergirl.
Mhm.
With that iteration of Supergirl. But then, kind of after that, the Superman books. Another Superman book that I read a lot was, I think, Birthright. I read
Oh man.
that was, yeah, but I didn't read a whole lot of Superman books. But really, like it usually it would be Batman and Superman, and seeing that dynamic, and seeing, like, these two very different superheroes, have to basically team up, and how, and also like listening to like their thought bubbles, and Batman's was blue, and Superman's was yellow, and it was just really, really cool, especially as a kid reading it.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Superman comics, even though it is like a
Mhm.
team up. But I mean that comic was because that sets up like Infinite Crisis
Mhm.
and just like changes the status quo too
Yeah.
for the universe, because then you get like the secret society and everything. And then I also just kind of like feel like that was like because it's like it comes off of like maybe like a couple of like maybe decades of like them like butting heads, especially after like Dark Knight Returns for
Mhm.
Batman and Superman. And that was like maybe like the first comic where it's like, no, they're friends, like they like each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
But because Jeff Loeb did Hush not too
Yeah,
long, so
that's
that so
right.
that was kind of his follow up to Hush. So then I went back and read Hush, and I was like, oh, because in Batman Hush, Batman fights Superman in that book as well.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's such a good comic. I was gonna say Public Enemies, so
Hmm.
yeah, it was like yeah, I love that book because it's just such a good premise where it's like Superman and Batman just on the run versus like everyone too, because it's like
Hmm.
they fight like the Justice Society, which is just Hawkman and Shazam, which
Hmm.
is just like their like
Which they called
counterparts.
him Captain Marvel back. They still
Oh,
called
that's
him
right.
Captain Marvel
Yeah,
back then. Yeah.
still called them Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and it's such a good fight. Like they like trick them and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, love that
It's
comic.
fun. Crypto
It's
showed up too. It's
he
it's it's
does.
super, super fun.
Yeah,
Like for like a panel, he's there.
he's there. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, and then I remember reading one comic, one Superman comic I do remember reading, and this was back at like, I think I was like the South Bay Galleria when I
Mhm.
read it, was the Death of Superman.
Oh, okay.
I didn't, I mind you, I didn't like read it, but I remember looking and like, because that book was kind of old to me, because it was like in that kind of style of paper.
Hmm.
And I remember reading that. I didn't buy it, but I remember looking at it and like, oh, I guess Superman is dead now.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a big Superman fan, at least in terms of the comics was concerned back then. So I wasn't really aware that he, like, came back and all the other stuff. I just saw, oh, he's dead. Let me,
Hmm.
so, but I wasn't, I don't know if I was born when that book came out. I probably was born, maybe, but I
Yeah.
wasn't like,
I
like
think.
conscious, I guess, so.
Yeah. I think it came out like in 1992. So it's like
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Figures.
Yeah, but that's still a good comic. I think it holds up. It's very 90s,
Yeah.
like
I
with
mean,
the
like
art.
Booster Gold is like this was
Yeah.
back when like the Justice League was like a bunch of like misfits and stuff. It's
Yeah.
not, this was, I think, before Grant Morrison took a hold of the JLA.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for Superman stories, I was gonna yeah, because I always remember reading the character here and there, but I think like
Hmm.
Public Enemies and like Infinite Crisis probably got me more into more DC stuff, because
Hmm.
starting out I was just Marvel. But yeah, for comics, I would say like for Superman for All Seasons, which is also Jeff
Fun.
Loeb.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. Birthright, I really enjoyed. I was also gonna say All Star Superman from
Oh
Grant
yeah, I mean
Morrison.
that's just, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
that's required reading. Like I let my dad borrow. I actually got one of
Mhm.
the. You can actually buy that book for like $8 or $9 on Digest. It's like a short, small version of it.
Oh yeah.
Which is good for like letting people borrow stuff and getting them into comics. So I got that from my dad before we went to go see the movie. I'm like, you got to read
Mhm.
All Star Superman. Um, but no, as far as like my favorite Superman books, I mean, um, one of them that was kind of recent is Up in the Sky
Oh
by
yeah.
Tom
Tom.
King.
Hmm.
Really good, and the artwork is really good. You know,
Yeah. I read I think I read the first issue. I need to finish that one, but yeah,
Ooh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
me
It's
too.
it's now in terms of like the story, a lot of it is just Tom King. It's a lot of narration.
Yeah.
Superman, a orphan gets taken by an alien race or something like that. She gets taken, goes up in the sky into space somewhere, and
Hmm.
Superman needs to basically find her and like achieve this impossible task. And it was just really, really well done, and the artwork is really great. But that's really was one among my favorites recently. But I think my favorite. Oh, and Dago, I want you. Yeah, go ahead, bro. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it's All Star Superman. Like,
Yeah, it's so good.
I told Gene before this because like I want to talk about that, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but like let's make it clear that we're all gonna say All Star Superman. Like,
Yeah.
that's the one. And I feel like I'm a little lucky right there because I didn't read a lot of comics growing up. I got
Mhm.
in around volume 4 or 5 of The Walking Dead
Okay.
when I start getting into comics because my friend, oh no, maybe even like volume 2 or 3 because my friend was like, you got to read these, and I was like, oh, I never read like a comic all the way through. I've seen them
Mhm.
at stores and stuff. I didn't have money back then, and then I'm reading them and I'm like, oh, is there more? And
Yeah.
he kept buying them and we'd read them and I was like, oh man, I'm hooked. So that's
Yeah.
some extra
Yeah.
lore for me. I get in because of Walking Dead and Image Comics, and I kid you not, I was like, man, they should make this a TV show someday, not a movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Other people clearly had the same idea, and it was a good one.
yeah.
But yeah, so from there, I eventually am like, well, I gotta read some Batman stuff, like
Hmm.
what's this Hush book I see
Mhm.
about? Like, who's this guy with the mask? And oh, Superman's in this one.
Yeah.
Whoa, and then eventually I get to Dark Knight. I think I get to Dark Knight Returns a little soon because I feel like I would have appreciated that more in my first read had I read more Batman stuff,
Yeah.
and it also
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
paint Superman in a great light.
Right.
So I'll be honest, for a while, um, I was one of those people who was like, well, Superman's cool, but he's a little vanilla. He's a little
Hmm.
boring. And I think as I've gotten older and stretched my own creative writing muscles, I find him very fascinating because he's sort of one of the ultimate challenges as a science fiction writer. You got to think of like, okay, he can punch through walls. He can go faster than a speeding bullet in many iterations. How do you make that interesting? And then you got the great Grant Morrison quote about like, Superman's just got our problems. They're just extrapolated. It's like, instead of walking his dog around his house, around his apartment, he's walking crypto on the moon.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
relatives are that he doesn't get along with just happen to be aliens from another planet. And it's like, oh, it
Yeah.
just puts so much perspective that way. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's All Star Superman though. Like that's
Yeah.
the
I
one.
like. Yeah. Yeah. I would. I mean, obviously, it's like in my top five. I think it's great. I mean, I've read more since I was reading recently his run on Action Comics that he did for New
Oh,
52,
yeah.
which is weird. It's not as great as
Yeah.
as his All Star run,
Hmm.
but it is a cool read. Like, and it's cool because in that version of Superman, it's his early years. It's like he's like on year 1 or year 2 of being Superman, and he literally just has a T-shirt that has the S on it. Like it
Yeah.
looks like what I'm wearing. Like it's just a T-shirt with a cape on it, and he has like jeans and like Timberland boots, and he's like, you know, taking down corrupt politicians, and it's like really, really kind of, especially for like those first cool, it's 6 or so issues. Like it's like really cool by Rags Morales, I think
Mhm.
did the artwork. So that one was really cool. But yeah, and I read Hush, and I did read Dark Knight Returns, and I'm not sure if I had a similar view. I mean, Superman was never necessarily my favorite superhero, but I think as once I started reading Birthright,
Mhm.
because Birthright really got the character down, but also once I started reading Jeff Johns, and he had a nice run on Superman. He wrote Secret Origin,
Yeah.
which Secret Origin is probably, maybe, probably my favorite, just because it's so crisp and it's so
Mhm.
like kind of perfect. There's not really because like with All Star, it's great, but like each chapter is not necessarily. They're not all equal, in my opinion. Like
Mhm.
some are really great and some are good, and then some are like really. But Secret Origin, with Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, it's
Yeah.
like just A1 consistent kind of short rap. Like it's just like it's like, and I'll land with this. It's sort of like it's like the Donner version of Superman
Hmm.
that is redone, but kind of better.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say Richard Donner was the co-writer too, right?
He was
On
not
the
the co-writer of that one. He was
oh,
the
with the
co-writer.
oh the
He co-wrote the one that had where it was Jeff Johns when he I forget, I think it was Superman and
it's when Zod comes back
Zod.
with
Yeah,
the
he
Phantom
co-wrote
Zone.
that one, which
Oh,
was fun
that's
as well, which was really
yeah.
good. And he also and then Jeff Johns also did he did one about the Bizarre World. That I think Donner might have did that one too with him.
Mhm.
And then Superman Legion, where Superman goes into the 31st century, like and how in that one they treat Superman kind of like a religious figure,
Yeah,
and it's really so that's up there too, like so well done.
that's a good storyline.
Yeah, man, it's really good.
Just some quick comment reactions. Again, thank you, Youth Critic Kale. Always nice to see you in the comments. Yeah, sometimes you have to try different approaches to making the same sandwich. I agree. Our boy Jack Godwin from that 90s Spider-Man podcast said, "Hey gang, hand pink waving? Is that like pinky
I think
waving?"
it's like an emoji. That's just not
Okay,
popping up
okay.
on your thing.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments through the streaming app. I apologize. And then our boy Joey is in here. Joseph Kressel started reading Superman Birthright after seeing the movie.
There you go.
I think
Yeah,
I think
you
that
can't
makes a
go
lot of
wrong.
sense. Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with that. And I'm about to go ahead and start reading Mark Waid's, the same guy who did Birthright, his Batman Superman, because he's like doing
Oh,
like
yeah.
4 books right now. I
Yeah.
think he's doing like a lot of books right now.
I need to get on that one because I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, the artwork is Dan Moore does the artwork, and that's really
Mhm.
good. Now, because in terms of Superman's origin story, there's like 6 of them.
Yeah, just
There's-
changing.
There's his 80s origin story by
John Byrne.
John Byrne and George
Yeah.
Perez, I think, right?
Yeah, no,
That's-
that one.
Yeah, that's like the kind of the quintessential like Lex Luthor is the 80s businessman. Like
Mhm.
I like that one. It's good. Then there's Birthright, which is like A1, really well done. I like the art. I'm not as much of a fan as the artwork on that than I am on Secret Origin,
Yeah,
because it's Gary Frank, you know.
yeah, Gary Frank.
So then you have those 3. Then you have, which is not mainstream Superman, but then you have Superman Earth One in that origin story, which was different. And then I think most recently, well, you have like the Grant Morrison, which is kind of an
Yeah.
origin with the New 52
New
version.
52.
And then currently, I'm not sure if you read this book, Superman Year One by Frank Miller. He did an origin
Oh.
story.
No, I didn't read that. I was like,
Oh,
I'll
I
get to
haven't.
it eventually, but it's like,
you Diego?
No, maybe this will be a segue into the movie as well. We can talk more on this, but just to get us there. Yeah, so I tapped out of Big 2 comics like a decade ago because I was just very unhappy with directions a lot of them are going. I've
feel
recently jumped back in with the new Ultimate Spider-Man
Also
by
good.
Jonathan Hickman, and
I have to.
Yeah.
I've jumped. I jumped back onto that, and then also the Absolute. I was reading.
oh yeah,
Absolute Batman. It's just kind of fun. It's dumb, but
Mhm.
dumb fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
people
And then
are really selling me on that one.
Yeah.
Scott
'cause
Snyder.
it's like, but it's like every character to like the nth degree. Like, yeah. And then I was reading a little bit of Absolute Superman. It's just not really. It's just they changed up the. Well, I would say this. It's like Absolute Batman still feels like Batman. It feels like a different character, but it does feel like Batman.
Mhm.
Absolute Superman, it's like it just kind of doesn't even really necessarily feel like Superman to me. Like it's just yeah. But yeah, I can understand that, and so but that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to get more into Frank Miller if we keep going because like
Yeah,
he's got a insane sequel to Dark Knight Returns that just came out. It's like the 4th. It's Golden Child, I think it's
it's
called.
like there was
Golden
yeah,
Child
there
is weird, yeah.
that
but
one's so weird.
it's weird, but so now Superman Year One is not well written at all.
No.
Okay, bummer.
Gene isn't surprising. Like it
Yeah.
not but there's three cool things about it. One is drawn by John Romita Jr. The second is Clark Kent after he leaves Smallville. I guess not really spoiler, but like he leaves Smallville and he becomes a Navy SEAL. So the second book, this is 3 parts. The second book is him in the Navy and basically him like kind of just breezing through Navy SEAL training. And then he goes and falls in love with a mermaid, which is from the Silver Age.
It's from the comics. This is canon.
Yeah. And then the third issue, which is probably the weaker, but he does come face to face with like an early like version of Batman. So you kind of have like early Frank Miller Batman. Wonder Woman shows up. You know, so it's cool. Like if you love the Frank Miller verse, but is it well written? By God, no, it's not.
At least it's well
not.
drawn. At least it's well drawn.
Yeah. You know, it's not. It is not. And the first issue was Frank Miller trying to write for teenagers, and he's that guy just cannot. Yeah,
no, he's off the deep end for sure. I think I was just very. I was super into how weird Golden Child was. Just like that one issue thing where I was like, that was genuinely kind of fucking insane. I don't know where that came from. I don't think he has it, but like, whoa, what the fuck? I couldn't wrap my brain around it.
He's been off the deep end. He's been off the deep
for a
end
while.
since 2008. So he's probably been off the deep end for longer in his career than he's not been off the deep end at this point.
It's a real bummer.
Did you guys ever see The Spirit?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah. That's I remember that being pretty rough.
Yeah.
And I remember liking because The Spirit came out in like I think late 2008, and I remember loving the trailer because the trailer came out I think for The Dark Knight. It had a really good trailer, and then the movie just did not deliver.
Yeah,
it's so weird. It's such a like I wanted that to be like Speed Racer and just like just do all the weird stuff, but it was like trying to do the weird stuff and then still be like realistic and gritty, and it just did not make sense.
It couldn't find a tone to stick with, and it's hard to adapt comics. Like it really is at the end of the day. That any of these are even like good and worth talking about is pretty great, I think. One of the last comments about comics specifically is that Jack Godwin says, I need to hit up my local library and see what Superman they have on the shelves. That's how I read Kingdom Come and All-Star Superman back in the day, but not read much else. So I hope these recommendations help you, Jack. The DM, Gene and I, message us if you want more recommendations too.
Yes.
Shout out libraries too, because that's a great way to just get free comics.
Absolutely.
Libraries are cool. Go support your local libraries. John Goodman said, "Hey guys, big fan of Gunn Superman. It has a lot going on, but when it hits more than anything. It makes me want a straight up Superman 2 that's more focused on Metropolis and the 10 out of 10 cast." So I think this is a good time to move directly into our reactions to James Gunn's Superman.
Boy.
There you go.
I will be honest. I did a extended podcast for the retrospective series, so I will give my brief thoughts, and you guys just please take it away. I'll focus on comments. You guys take over the discussion. I will say, liked it way more than I was expecting to. By the time the movie was coming out, I was very concerned. I think James Gunn has his quirks, and if they bother you, I would just suggest not watching the movie because they're all over this baby. They don't bother me. He's one of my guys right now. I really liked. I would say I borderline loved the movie. I think it's pretty great. He hits me emotionally where it counts. They absolutely needed to keep the title card structure that they took out of the movie because it's a week in the life of Superman. It was supposed to be like cut to black Monday, cut to black Tuesday. They took that out. I think a lot of the pacing problems would be addressed if they just kept that in. It sounds like a minor thing. You are both artists, writers, creatives. You understand what I'm talking about, I think. I'm not crazy here. And but I really liked it. This isn't the greatest Superman movie ever made to me.
Okay.
I think it's a very good one, though. I think it's a very good Superman movie. And I left the theater with a little extra pep in my step, and I'm just humming that punk rock song all the time now. So I liked it.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
I would go with still Superman 2, still my favorite. love Superman too.
We're gonna have to go back to that at some
Okay,
point. But
we'll
continue.
go back.
Sorry, that's it. I'll shut up now.
Yeah.
I'll-
Gene, did you want to go first? Because I don't want to.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, just like quick thoughts because it's like going into this. Always been a James Gunn fan. Love Guardians. Love like just all his work. Just also him as a comic book fan. Just like watching Creature Commandos, which was kind of like the soft launch of this universe, and just seeing like watching Creature Commandos, and you're like, oh, there's it's like vitamin animal dinosaur man.
Animal
It's like
Mineral Man.
Animal, yeah, like that character's so dumb. It's in the background, and there's like King Shark, and there's like Calendar Man. And I'm like, okay, this is clear. He is a comic book fan, but then he's also like a comic book fan like me, where it's just like, what, like you get hyper fixated on just like random characters, like Pip the Troll, or like like just like random characters like Booster Gold, even though I love Booster, and just like seeing him like appreciate like just really random characters that no one gives the time of day to, um, and seeing him like craft this movie. And it's very clear he loves Superman, loves the character, and just kind of like just how I think like important the character is, just in in the comics, but also just in the world, because it's like everyone knows that character, and he's supposed to be like hopeful. I mean, not to like critique the previous films too much, but it's like I just wanted to see that in the previous universe, just have him like save people, or like get a cat out of a tree, and just like the scene with like him and Lois, and just talking why he like intervened in like another country, because he's just like that's the right thing to do, even though it gets him in trouble. And it just I was just so happy with it, because it just reminded me of almost like because you guys watch this the Justice League cartoon, all the DC animated films, like it really reminded me of that, because it was just like it felt like just seeing him like interact and everything with all these characters, and just seeing like, okay, he's just good, and he still has like he still has problems, he still has issues, but just seeing him just be like a good like person was just really made me very happy at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, I seen the movie twice. I had to, because the first time I saw it, I couldn't quite. I know I liked it, but I couldn't quite give you a concrete opinion on it. So I needed. I'm trying to brighten this up. So I saw it again, and I still like the movie. I didn't love the movie. I wanted to. But I think in terms of a Superman movie, I think that Superman was very well done, very likable. He had the heart. I mean, saving people. Just he loves everybody. He even wants to save the monster. Like that stuff was great. I thought Lex Luthor was really good. I mean, the characters were done well. There wasn't anything necessarily wrong with the action figures, so to speak. In the like everything was all there. It felt like I was reading a comic book, right? It just didn't feel like I was reading like a great comic book. You know what I mean? Like it felt like a good run, but not necessarily a run or it's like it just didn't quite elevate necessarily for me. I think it started off really like in a not a weird spot, but it was just kind of like, oh, I wish I would have saw, him stop the war or whatever. I don't, hopefully, I'm not sure I'm not going to necessarily get into spoilers, but
I think we can if you want to.
We could
go for it.
Yeah. But just really, it's just it didn't. It isn't. I think it's a good Superman movie. I don't think it's the greatest. I will say, I'm going to have to be that guy. I do think that Man of Steel as a movie is better. As a movie, when you're watching that from beginning with the Russell Crowe, to the end, like as a cohesive unit, as a film, it is better. But what is a better Superman representation? Obviously, this one. I feel a very similar way to Tim Burton's Batman versus the Batman.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Batman is a very accurate representation of the Batman. But what to me is a better movie? Tim Burton's Batman, no
Yeah.
question. So, or you can like replace it with Dark Knight, whatever. So, but I think this is a Superman movie that we all need at this point.
Mhm.
Um, I think that James Gunn did he had his little quirks in there. The harem, I don't think was necessarily necessary, like, because I do want to be able to bring my nephews and bring a kid to see this movie. And what's a harem? It's like, was that really necessary? And you say that
Uh-huh.
3 times, it's like that kind of thing. So it's like he couldn't
Yeah.
really help himself. But I think he did a good job, and I think that his heart was in the right place when making this movie. I just wish that as a story and as a narrative that I felt like the epicness, because I just don't want a Superman movie to represent the character well. I also want the movie and the narrative to be at an A1 level, and I just didn't quite feel that, but it was good. Like, it's definitely, I would say this is third. I would say it's either a Donner movie, one of the Donner movies, Man of Steel, and then probably this one, but still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Some quick comments really fast. Matt Curion, our boy, says, hello, friends. Hello, Matt. Matt thought it was the most comic book movie in years. Great dog. Yeah, I know Matt really
Love
liked
the
it as
dog.
well. Terrific dog, even though Crypto is a bad dog, but all dogs are good, so it's fine.
Mhm.
We love them anyways. And our friend Joey said, first watch, didn't like it at all. Second watch, somehow loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think that's also important to mention with these things. We go through phases and processes about, like, when you experience art, sometimes it's such a shock to the system. You're like, I don't know what that was, so I don't like it. And sometimes you realize later, like, oh no, I did like that, or sometimes something makes you happy in the moment, and then later you're like, nah, that wasn't enough for me, which I've heard about this movie on both of those fronts at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think in some cases it's, because usually when you see a great movie, like, look, when I saw The Dark Knight, we everyone came out the theater like,
Yeah.
when you first, I remember when I saw The Dark Knight, not to talk about a 20-some-year-old, almost a 20-some.
It's The Dark Knight. It's totally
Yeah.
fine.
But
Yeah.
it was kind of like when you walked out of that theater, you couldn't believe how good that movie was. It was unbelievable. Now with this movie, I walked out of it like, wow, you know what? This was a very comic booky. I mean, with the robots, I mean, like the stuff. Now, here's what I will say. There were some things that weren't in the movie that disappointed me that we didn't get to see, because it's like, why didn't we just see that? So just for example, like a couple things, right? For example, Kandor. Why wasn't Kandor in this movie? Kandor could have just been in the background, right?
Yeah.
Why wasn't Jor-El wearing that green? You know how Jor-El, like the Silver Age Jor-El, has like that green kind of jumpsuit thingy, like kind of stuff like that, like his blue rocket. Like, I kind of wish that, like, even though it was comic booky, I still think he could have really kind of went there with the Silver Agedness. You know what I'm saying? Even like his Fortress of Solitude, I think wasn't as grand as it really could have been. It just felt like just kind of like one room. But and mind you, that could be a nitpick, but it's kind of like, well, since we have this blank slate, it's kind of like, it's like if they do another Batman movie, it's like, how many Batman movies are we gonna do with where there's no dinosaur in the cave?
Yeah.
Put a dinosaur in the cave.
Giant Penny.
Yeah.
Giant Penny too.
I don't think these are super nitpicks at all,
Yeah,
especially
no,
regarding like what you mentioned about the Fortress of Solitude here. Big fan of this movie. Very big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the way they shoot this movie makes it feel a lot smaller between the wide angle lenses and the genuinely very impressive set design, like the Daily Planet. Amazing set. Looks pretty empty a lot of the time, even though there's a lot of people in it, because they're shooting on like 16, 22s, 28s. I love wide angle lenses. Throw a 50 on there once in a while. You know what I mean? Like it'll help you contextualize stuff a little better.
Yeah,
dense.
That's a good point about the Daily Planet, because to me the best Daily Planet that I remember was probably either the Donner movies or even Superman Returns, where it kind of felt lived in, and because it's yeah, but yeah, I can understand, and even like the action. I mean, what Gene? What'd you think about the action scenes in this movie?
I mean, it was like, I mean, like stuff like the like with the, I don't think it had a name. It was just a giant kaiju, but like
Yeah,
just the giant kaiju. Seeing, I mean, seeing like Superman where he wasn't invincible.
that was
Um,
cool. I like
yeah,
that.
it was cool because it's like he kind of again going, I guess going back to the animated Superman for Justice League, like that one. He was really like, he was kind of inconsistent. At the very end of the show, they were like, "Oh, he was holding back this whole time." But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in that show he gets like hit by like lasers and it like affects him. It doesn't like it doesn't like hurt him, but it kind of like wins him.
And he was always
So
getting electrocuted.
electrocute, yeah, that was his weakness for some reason. It
He
wasn't
will always
It's
get
probably fun to
electrocuted.
draw.
yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't magic, which is his
yeah.
other weakness besides kryptonite. But yeah,
And are we allowed to? Are we just so I'm clear? Are we
mhm,
allowed to spoil? Because
yes,
I can.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's get into
Okay,
all of it.
okay.
they
All right.
shouldn't be here if
So,
they're you
so
know
what do we think about Ultraman? Because I have some. I have some. I think in some parts he was cool.
mhm,
There was one scene. There's only one scene in the movie that I thought had the most tension,
mhm,
where I was like, wow. Because I remember seeing it the second time. I'm like, wow, this scene that's so minimal has the most tension in the movie. And it was the scene where Miss Tessmacher, was in the closet, and you see Ultraman overhear what she's saying. That
mhm,
scene had the most, and it got the biggest one of the biggest. We could talk about the other audience reactions, but with Ultraman, my complaint was because we kind of guessed that it was a Superman
yeah,
clone,
yeah,
but like, so you're doing so now you be Ultraman, so not the Earth 3 version. Okay, cool. He's Bizarro, but we're not. He wasn't really Bizarro, so there was
no,
nothing really. You know what I mean? Like if he wasn't like if you're gonna go there with the whole talking backward, the S on the other side, the like the gray skin, it just kind of seemed as though if you're gonna do that, then let's see that,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, because it's like as far as we know, he's not Bizarro. This might be the last we see him. There wasn't really anything besides him being a clone that would suggest he is Bizarro. Because yeah, it felt like a very
He was
predictable.
dumb.
Yeah, he was dumb, but yeah, it felt like very predictable and just like, oh, okay, it's a clone. But I guess it worked enough. But yeah, it was very. As soon as they entered the fortress, I was like, oh, okay, that's a clone.
And yeah, but the big, and I'll land with this my last point about Bizarro, because I thought it was like fine, Lex
Yeah,
Luthor saying B5 and like he was playing friggin' Battleship.
yeah,
Um, but my issue with it was when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, why don't I love this part? And it's because it seems as though I'm not sure what the mandate is with these Superman movies, but Superman is only fighting Kryptonians.
hmm,
He fights a Kryptonian, Superman 2. He fights a clone Kryptonian, Superman 4. He fights Kryptonians in Man of Steel, and he's fighting a Kryptonian. No, and even in BVS, Doomsday is basically
Doomsday,
a
yeah,
Kryptonian. So it's like Metallo, Parasite, like where's the other villains that he's
yeah,
fighting? Like where's his rogues gallery?
yeah. They've
That's a
they
Here,
yeah.
go ahead, Gene. Then
No,
I'll do it.
they've been sorely missing because it's like I guess we got the engineer, but she's not really like a Superman villain.
No,
She's not a Superman villain, so it's good. At least we had like some variety, but the yeah, it's just like hopefully maybe in the next one we'll see other villains because it's just like yeah, in the movies they really stick to I guess someone that could just match his strength.
It feels
Um,
like it's the easy answer
yeah,
yes,
to having him punch someone. And look, I'll be honest, if it works, it works. And I thought it worked pretty well here. And I think we have to give a little asterisk to this because yeah, I think we all called like there's Ultraman's probably a Superman clone. We are also nerds, so I
yeah, we are
think
big
like
nerds.
like general audiences who this movie is primarily for, right? Like more people like Superman now again, but
Yeah.
I think general audiences, I don't know if they'll be like shocked, but I don't think they'll be like, oh, there's a Superman clone in this movie before they watch it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, they won't. But I would say this though. One of the cool things about the Spider-Man movies is that in every Spider-Man movie, he fights a very different villain than the movie he did before. So Green Goblin is very different than Doc Ock. Sandman is very different than Venom. Venom is very different than Vulture. Vulture is very, like they're all different. So when you're watching a Superman movie, it's kind of like, wouldn't it be cool to see him fight the Parasite, and he's a villain that you can't touch, and if you touch him, he will literally suck out your inner, like, or you know what I mean? Like,
I completely agree. By the way, with that.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say he has like such an interesting rogues gallery too. I think because you know, people always like, oh, okay, Spider-Man has the best, or like Batman or Fantastic Four, but I think like, Superman has a very underrated one with like, we talked about Metallo, Brainiac, Parasite, but you know, characters like Cyborg Superman or like Toyman.
Toyman. On another podcast, we brought up Ultra Humanite.
Ultrahumanite, yeah,
which I would love to see in a movie.
Yeah,
I mean, like, well, I don't think they should do any alternate reality stuff necessarily, but you know, at some point, if they would, I think one of the coldest Superman villains, even though he's a Superman villain, I guess, but he's more of like a DC villain, is Superboy Prime.
Oh yeah, love Superboy Prime from Infinite Crisis. He's just
really cool. You know, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was kind of a thing where, you know, Brainiac, you know, because I thought that the engineer was going to end up being Brainiac. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought that maybe that, you know, because she's like a nanobot, whatever. I thought maybe we was going to get a female version of Brainiac, but we ended up getting a.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess like Mr. Mizaplex might have been a cameo because they were like, oh, they're just fighting a fifth dimensional imp.
Yeah. To be fair, to be clear, because you and I talked about this before, Gene, I don't think it's Mr. Mix-Up, however you pronounce his name, but I think it is like, oh yeah, that's just something that can happen here. I think the world building is really fun in this one.
Well,
I would agree.
If this movie is just let's say this bombed horribly, makes negative money, everyone loses their jobs, right? Which didn't happen. I'm just saying hypothetically, this movie on its own, I think gets even a little more interesting because it's like, wow, you just pop into this movie for 2 hours and it's like, look at all the imaginative stuff in this movie. You know, like if you're a kid watching your first Superman movie, you know, I think this would get the gears going. This gets the kids in the playground excited to run around with capes and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, I would agree.
More than like we had like Superman Returns, just depressed Superman.
Sad Superman. I mean, that one's not really like fun. I think that movie gets some stuff right. I think it's not very fun. And
Bryan Singer directed it.
Yeah,
which is less fun.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey,
no,
it's
that was a good idea.
Remember, he should not be making movies.
You know,
it was almost J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would have been better.
Yeah, I mean,
not at the time.
There was a lot of different iterations of Superman we could have had. I mean, but as far as this one is concerned, it does make me excited. I mean, when I watched it both times I saw it, one of the biggest reactions was that special cameo from
Peacemaker.
Yeah, that got a big reaction. You know, Supergirl kind of got an interesting reaction too toward the end. You know, and then that's going to be. I'm curious to see how that kind of turns out. You know,
me too.
Yeah. You know,
some of the comments are saying, Matt had never heard of Ultraman before this movie, so I guess Matt was caught off guard. Bobby Fernando is a great artist, by the way. Everyone go follow at Bob E Fat, like Boba Fett, but Bob E Fat on Instagram. Amazing artist, good pal. Didn't get why Ultraman was in the movie, but also suggested that this is the first comic book movie in years to be really, really good at set design, and I would agree with that. John Goodman mentions that Parasite seems like the kind of villain Gunn would pick in a sequel. I would agree with that. And to the Ultraman point, I do think like that's the kind of character that you could make into Bizarro for the sequel, like when he falls into the black hole.
You could, but we've already. But I agree with you. But we've already. It's kind of like at that point, I just don't want to see him fight another Kryptonian. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
kind of like you want him to fight a different type of thing, as
Yeah.
opposed to him coming. That's why in the MCU they don't really typically bring villains back, because it's like, okay, we've already kind of seen
Mhm.
it. I think the only time we've seen a villain come back to fight the hero again is probably in No Way Home. But at least in No Way Home, it was a different version of Spider-Man fighting the old
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire villain. So it wasn't even really the same matchup. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of don't really necessarily want to see Bizarro again. They kind of had their chance with it, and and like I said, it was fine, but it was just kind of like I would love to see James Gunn deal with like the Bizarro, like me Bizarro's kill like
It's
It
like
feels like a James Gunn character. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
the way
and
he
they-
talks and
yes.
Matt Curione brought up that we already do have the Brainiac monkeys, so yeah, let's fucking go.
Oh, there you go.
I laughed out loud when I saw the monkeys at the computer screens,
That was fun.
Yeah.
just shit posting. Like that was so funny. Like that is such a chronically online thing to put in a movie.
Mhm.
And I mean, we do know there's like bot farms from like grifter accounts and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
In real
That's
life.
basically just that version of that. Yeah. So Joey also said, "Give me a sequel that has Brainiac as the villain, directed by Gore Verbinski." I would go crazy for that. Gore Verbinski has a movie coming out next year, I believe.
Okay.
Wrapped up
Okay.
in
Yeah.
South
think so.
Africa last year. So
Yeah. I think
it's called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. So everyone stay tuned for that. We'll see how that comes
Yeah.
together. I heard it's weird. Yeah, that's great. And then Jack Godwin asked what we think of the city destruction. Personally, I felt that it was far too large scale to feel impactful, which took me out of the movie. My only major criticism. And I think this is I actually think the action's really good by the end of the movie. I think the big
Mhm.
monster fight's a little wonky. And I think that's where the wide angle lenses really come to like accentuate the motion and the movement of the punches and the flipping and all that stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
I love that. It feels like action figures clashing together.
Right.
I do think still that because the city feels a little empty earlier and you're kind of isolated to specific corners of streets,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like that big. Even though the event itself is big, and I think the ending of the movie is emotionally impactful. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I'll let you go
Good question.
first. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll go. I mean, it felt. I mean, it felt very like because it's like just the city ripping apart. I mean, it worked enough. It didn't like captivate me like say like in Guardians 3 with the whole like spaceship breaking down and they have to like save everyone in there. It felt like a little rushed. Wasn't like my favorite set piece. But yeah, just and then you're also like the Justice Gang is saving like the other country, so you're also there. So
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah.
of like the attention was in like a couple different places. But I know I wish it could have just been something like they're in like the Phantom Zone or the Pocket Dimension, excuse me. Could have been in the
Mhm.
Pocket Dimension that played more in the like they're inside there.
I mean, that's just how comic book movie this is. It's like, oh yeah, Lex Luthor made a pocket dimension. You know, that's like in the first 15 minutes of the movie. That's also here, which is a positive to me.
Yeah.
I
But
thought,
yeah.
I did like that aspect. I mean, the city destruction didn't affect me necessarily. I mean, Metropolis didn't necessarily feel like a character. I don't necessarily think it needs to. And even with the action, one thing I was going to say was I did like. This is a bit of a gripe, but I did like the Raptors in like the Lex Luthor like armored dudes, and obviously we didn't talk about Mr. Terrific and how like he was taking them out.
We got it.
That was really cool
Such a good scene.
but also missed opportunity. Lex Luthor, we all know that Lex Luthor has a armored suit. Maybe he's going to do that in a sequel. I would like to see that, But what do you guys think about the other characters and like the Justice Gang and Guy Gardner and
Yeah, love the Justice Gang because it's like I love like Guy Gardner. Just seeing Guy Gardner in the comics, he's just like such a jerk, and then they just like correctly put him like that in the show or in the movie was amazing. Oh yeah, just loved Mr. Terrific. It was yeah, you know, in the comics he's the third smartest man. So just
Hmm.
seeing that like fully play out, because I don't think in any other live iterations I've seen just that version. And love Hawk Girl. Hawk Girl just dropping the dude to his death is just like
Not
such a great.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like throwing this like dictator, and she's just like drops him. Yeah, it's like that's such a good like Thanagarian
Bless you.
moment because
Thank you.
because the Thanagarians they're like ruthless. They don't care. They'll just kill you. So
Yeah.
yeah, really lived
Um,
up to the comics. Yeah.
yeah, I liked Hawk Girl. I like Isabella Merced. Transformers 5 heads. You know what's
Mhm.
up. We were there day one. We're like, this kid's good. They're going places. It's
Yeah.
not a joke. Don't lock me up. But she's good. She doesn't have anything to do. She
Yeah.
gets an
Yeah,
awesome moment at the end, but she's not. She's a little flat as a character.
I liked Guy Gardner. I just liked him.
Yeah.
In terms of like what the material, it's like it's kind of very simple. Like the name sucks. No, it does. You know, but it's fine. It works. Mr. Terrific was also really good when he was in character. There was times where he kind of went, oh hell no, where I'm like just kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
But when he was stoic and when he was like on his like, you know, serious, like I thought he was really really well done. He made me laugh the second time I saw it. Hawk Girl, gonna be honest, I don't think she was bad.
Mhm.
But I mean, look, I grew up on Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
That's not that character to me. You know, like that. You know, Shire Hall. You know, who's probably one of the best characters on Justice League Unlimited. I
Mhm.
just, you know, not to say like she can't grow into that. It's just kind of like I just felt that she was a little. She kind of felt like she should have been on like the Teen Titans. Mm, but so I don't know. Hopefully that she does more. You know, maybe she might be on a Justice League later. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she can evolve. It's just I thought like the actress who played the engineer. I thought all the engineer Lois thought I liked Jimmy, um, but I thought the other actors were just I think she just wasn't and like you said, Diego, like she didn't have much to do. So
Yeah. Yeah, she could be cool. And I got a little worried when on the press tour she was like, "Yeah, I'd love." She was talking about where she'd like to see the character go, and then I was like, "Ooh, that's probably not good if they're not talking about the movie she's in."
It's
And
just like
again,
I'm here in the movie.
yeah, and she's like, we all like her. She's cool, you know. Like she's clearly like going to be one of these movie stars that sticks around for a while, and rightfully so. Great charisma, super badass with the hawk yell and stuff like that. Just you know, give her an arc or something next time.
yeah,
But I like Guy Gardner. I even like where he's like, yeah, he's like a dick, and he's like, look, Superman's probably not here to destroy us, but like, what am I supposed to do about it? You know?
hmm
So like, I like the idea of the Justice Gang having to be inspired to do good outside of the parameters they think is heroic by the end. So if, like, I know there's a lot of discussion about whether or not the Justice Gang should have saved or should have stopped the invasion from Baravia. And I think it worked because it's like, okay, well, he inspired them to do so.
Mhm.
You know, he made them think outside the box, outside these political parameters. It's like, no, people are in danger and they need help. So stop people from being hurt,
right.
which is both
Yeah.
very simple and obviously very complicated. And the movie,
Yeah.
I think, it doesn't tie it with a neat little bow. You know, you see the government guys, Rick Flag Sr. as well, being like, well, guess we know who's in charge now. And it's like, that's clearly not
Yeah.
like good.
And I also think, I mean, like, it's because look, if you look at this Superman crest, this crest, anybody who's read comics will know that this is the crest from Kingdom Come repurposed as his main crest. So I do think that James Gunn is going to probably utilize the Kingdom Come, heroes in this world kind of going too far. There's something that could be there, which I think could be fun. Maybe not a direct adaptation, obviously, but just kind of like
Yeah.
using some of those themes. I thought it was cool seeing the JSA
Yeah. The mural.
mural in the background.
Yeah.
I thought that was some good work, and that kind of reminded me a little bit of Smallville, because Smallville did that. Smallville did a lot of things way
Yeah.
back when. They were the pioneers, really, even of the Arrowverse, right? But
Mhm.
but I will say this, man. I'm curious to see where this goes. I wish that James Gunn, I kind of like, in a way, I know we kind of criticized BBS of doing this a little bit, but I think I kind of want them to hit the ground running a little bit more with,
Mm.
I think we want to see the Wonder Woman of this world. We want to see the DCU Batman. We want to see the DCU Robin. Hopefully they can, you know, kind of going forward, be able to, keep this hype train of flowing, and maybe Supergirl is the thing that will do that, and maybe Clayface.
Hmm.
But Clayface movie, if it doesn't have Batman in it, if not, then why?
Yeah.
But
It's like, I mean, he even said like, this is just like they're doing it because it's like, oh, they need the content, is what they said, which is not a great thing.
Is that what he said?
He
I
said
don't think I've
something
heard
similar.
James Gunn say
Someone
that.
said that.
I'm
They needed-
100% sure
I
they're
don't think
doing
he's-
it because of that. I'm just saying I haven't heard him say that. I want to make that
Yeah.
clear. I'm not attacking
Right.
that, James.
Well, yeah, someone
well,
said it.
I would say this: I'm cool if Batman is in, because the thing about it is, look, we've seen what they did with Joker, right?
Yeah,
Womp,
not a good
you
movie.
know, especially the second movie. But I like the first one a whole lot. I thought the first one was great. But if Batman is if they cast Batman and Batman has a part in the movie in some way, shape, or form, I am all for it. But having just a Clayface movie just because it's a good script and let's just do it is just kind of, and that's why I said earlier that I don't have the biggest faith in James Gunn, because as much as I did like this movie, I don't think that the script for this movie was as tight as he was kind of, because James Gunn is making it seem as though if the script is not great, then we're not making it, but we're making this. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, didn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for Clayface, yeah, they need some sort of hook than just being like, oh, okay, like, because it's like it's like Morbius. Who's gonna just see Morbius because it's a comic book character, or yeah, like Madam Web. But we're also getting Green Lanterns.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Lanterns.
coming
I
out
mean,
soon.
yeah, I mean the Flash. I think that, like, here's one thing I'll say, right? And here's what's cool about the DC universe that the Marvel universe doesn't quite have necessarily, is you can start these characters and do the first iterations of these characters, so we can, and it sucks that, like, we're jumping to Damian, because you could do Batman with Dick Grayson and then do Jason Todd, and then, you know what I'm saying, like, you have the leeway to do these. I mean, they're gonna do it the way that they want to do it or whatever, but
Yeah.
like, so, like, let's get into it. Like, I'm kind of, I know people were criticizing BBS for trying to jumpstart a universe, but it feels like with this movie we're already here. The universe has already been, heroes have already been around for 300 years and metahumans. So let's just do it. Give us give us a Super Friends movie with the Wonder Twins, whatever.
Yeah.
I completely agree, by the way, and I think you and I are on the same wavelength about BVS. I like that movie quite a bit now. I'll be honest. This movie has basically the same plot as BVS. It's shockingly similar.
It's pretty similar.
How close this movie is to BVS. It's just more colorful.
Similar in, okay, Lex Luthor using Kryptonian DNA to as a deterrent for Superman. There's that aspect. There's a few things that that they're doing, but
using the foreign conflict to draw out Superman and implicate him in problems around the world. Like, it's
a little bit.
This is not a complaint for me. I find it to be a very interesting, almost like litmus test, And again, I'm not someone who thinks BVS is even better than this movie. I just think it's like, that wasn't acceptable back then. Would that approach have been more acceptable now? This is obviously hindsight. This is hypothetical.
Yeah, well, the reason why it wasn't acceptable then was just because at the time it was not considered to be a good movie. So had it been a better movie, then people would have been fine with it, because it's like when Guardians of the Galaxy established a lot of characters, but it was a great movie. So and I'm not gonna say that BVS is a great movie necessarily, but
Yeah.
it is still for me a very interesting movie for me to watch and to put into put on into. I would love to watch BVS with somebody who's never seen it and be like, hey, like they made this movie back then, and they're like, what?
Uh-huh.
This is just ridiculous. Yes, it is. Let's continue. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I showed my mom these the Snyder movies during those rough early pandemic years,
Mm.
and she responded positively to Man of Steel, BVS, and the Snyder Cut when that came out. It was like that succession. And I remember being like I talking about BVS, and she was like, "No, yeah, that makes sense. Like, oh, yeah, I see that. Like, yeah, Superman dying like inspired Batman to be a better person. Yeah, I get that." And I was just like, "Whoa, so,
Yeah.
all right." Like, it just wasn't a
I
problem.
guess this
Yeah,
right.
for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't like BVS when it came out. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, fuck this," and now I'm like, "There's interesting stuff here." It's I would go to bat for
Right.
it.
Well, the reason why one reason why we didn't like it, and obviously we can get back to Superman, but like one reason is because this movie kind of gave us what it is that we thought we were gonna get, and it delivered it. Right.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It may not have been as great. It's either as great as you thought it was, or it was good at the very least. Like to me, it's kind of like I don't see how you are a Superman fan, and it's weird that people claim to be Superman fans and say that he sucked in this movie. That
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't see that. But
No.
with BVS, it gave us the movie that we just weren't like expecting because I mean I was disappointed that Batman and Superman. And one thing I hope that James Gunn does to land is I hope that James Gunn gives us the Batman and Superman friendship that
Yeah.
we've
what I
never
want.
got to see yet.
No.
You
No,
know,
because they're just like really acquaintances and Justice League and yeah, like they don't really know each other. They only speak like a couple times.
I remember the discussions when that movie was coming out and it was announced as Batman versus Superman. People were like elder family relatives who know these characters from old movies and cartoons and stuff. They were like, aren't they supposed to be friends? Like, why are they having them fight? That was a death knell. We should have known that movie had no chance just based on that
Yeah.
alone. That seems like very fickle. I think that makes a big deal. That's a big deal when the general audience is like, I don't know about that. It's, you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
that is true, but I think that had they made up for it by giving us that, you know, and then also too, because we knew that they was going to do a Justice League, but we didn't know that the Justice League would not have Superman in it.
Mhm.
Like we thought that okay, this is naturally gonna Donald Justice, then it's gonna set up the Justice League, and then we're gonna see Batman, and oh shit, Superman is dead. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and it makes sense because of how he set it up to where okay, now that Superman is gone, they need to, you know, get the other heroes together. So it makes sense. Like I'm gonna credit Snyder for it, but I mean, look, I would say this. I hope that, and I know that James Gunn has a plan. We're gonna have to trust that plan, obviously, and see what he's kind of trying to do. It doesn't have to be something on a scale of an Infinity Gauntlet necessarily, but but we're just gonna have to really see because they bet the whole house on this guy.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I'm gonna say this. Superman to me isn't his best movie or his best superhero movie. I think I'm not gonna say it's his worst superhero. Like out of the Suicide Squad, the Guardians movies. I think it's just above Guardians 3, but even Guardians 3, I got to rewatch that again. But I think Guardians is probably his best. The Suicide Squad is really, really good, crisp. Guardians 2 is really good, but so it's valiant effort, but this is not, in my opinion, James Gunn's best.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I'm a Guardians 2 guy through and through. I saw Guardians 2 with this guy, Gene. The moment it ended, I looked over at him and I was like, I think that's the best Marvel movie. Like, I think that's just going to be the best one to me forever. And I've not been dissuaded of that opinion. So I think that's his best movie as well. Just all that. I busted up for a second earlier, and I didn't mean to be rude, but I just saw Jack Godwin saying, "I prefer this movie's Jimmy Olsen," in reference to BVS, is
The
like,
previous
that's very fair.
just
I
gets shot in the face.
very funny. Joey
Oh.
says Gunn better have some no men in his room instead of all yes men for his ideas. Here's the thing. I think I like his ideas, and we can start winding down a little bit.
Sure,
and,
sure.
I want to read some more tweets and stuff like that. I think all his story ideas are very good and interesting, but I also thought that about most of Snyder's. And I think it just kind of comes down to like little things where maybe a joke's going on a little too long. And I felt this before about his stuff. He's one of my guys. He's not perfect. Or Mr. Terrific's badass action scene. I think that's so much more interesting if there was no diegetic music playing during it. If it was silent and he kind of kicks everyone's ass before you realize what's happened, he's already at the end. He's like, "Oh, Lewis, there's a portal over here." And then she looks back and everyone's gone. Something like that. James Gunn always does an action scene like that in his movies. I get it. That's one of his things.
Yeah. I like the music, but I
mean, the music itself is great, and Mr. Terrific kind of steals the movie, for a long period of time at least. And I just was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, he can do that with his eyes closed, like,
yeah. I kind of just, I mean, as far as James Gunn's his writing is concerned, it was kind of like there wasn't anything. A lot of it comes from. They're not really his ideas. A lot of the stuff just really just comes from comics. It's not like there wasn't anything. Like I'll give you an example of this, right? This is not a great to kind of go reference a comic book. Gene, you ever read Superman Unchained by Scott Snyder?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So here's a movie, because that book is basically Jim Lee, Scott Snyder is basically a blockbuster Superman movie, but in a comic book form. There's in the second issue. There's like a robot that's like it knocks over the world's tallest building, the same one that Tom Cruise scaled up, right? And Superman has like 10 seconds to figure out how to save everyone in that building, right? And he can't just lift it regular because it's like a big building made out of glass, right? So he's literally trying to figure this out in seconds. And remember what he does, Gene?
I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I read that film.
Basically what he did was it's like he has like 3 seconds before like everyone's gonna die, and he gets hit into some water, and he's like, oh shit, the water, and he takes the water and swirls with the water, and then puts the water against the building, and then blows it, and then freezes the water in place and holding the building together. So what I'm trying to say basically is that like he had to find out this creative way to save these people. And it's kind of like, like in Iron Man 3 where like Iron Man had to like fly and like save all the people. It's kind of like I wanted something that was a little bit more clever than what was kind of given, being that he's Superman.
Yeah.
Like hell, being like, how Superman can like, read all the books in the library and do surgery on somebody, like something that was clever. And that was kind of not what I got from like that's kind of the stuff that I want to see more of, like the cleverness. It's like you like what go ahead.
No, I mean, I feel like he was just like, I wouldn't say afraid, but he was like hesitant to do that because I think he's talked about like, oh, I don't want the Superman that like spins the world back in time and then could like turn the time back like 3 days or something. But I think like I felt like creative use of his powers outside of like the super breath to save the dog was just a little missing because I mean he has like X-ray vision, didn't really see that.
It's just kind of like some stuff where it's like, okay, like I don't know, it's like and JG brought up Lex Luthor. It's like, what if a twist was, I know this happened in the Tim Burton, not Tim Burton, Bruce Timm, getting my Tim mixed up. This happened in the animated series where it's like Luthor having like cancer or something like that because of the kryptonite. So it's like, maybe we find out that Lex Luthor is terminal, or just kind of some sort of like a twister, like, oh wow, I didn't even think of that, But Lex Luthor, we didn't talk about him.
Oh yeah,
really good.
Yeah, he was. Good. I love like he's just like just to mess with him, he'll like shoot some like random like guy that just gives him like pretzels and like helped him just falafels. Just gives him the falafel. Like that was such a great scene because I think that's just like the epitome of the character because Luthor says so much stuff where he's like, oh this is Superman's preventing mankind from like achieving like greatness or whatever, and it's like at the end of the day, he's just like he just hates this guy, and he's just
That is
evil. Yeah.
that is true.
He's an egomaniac, and I like
Mhm.
that they didn't shy away from like, no, this guy's a piece of shit without Superman. There's no Superman here. This guy is being an asshole to his employees and his henchmen, and I'm just glad that that's there. I
Yeah.
wish there was a little more perspective on Lex Luthor from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
When they get into the investigative stuff, then we hear about the Daily Planet kind of like going, oh yeah, of course Luthor would do that. And it's like, I think the first half of the movie needed a little bit like,
Who is this guy?
where does he
Like,
fall in line with the
yeah.
world? On the other
Yeah,
podcast,
they like. Do
it was
people like him? Yeah.
yeah,
I would agree
is
with that.
he? I'm just stealing this point from my friend Macaringo. Is he Jeff Bezos or is he Elon Musk or is there a mix? He could be any of them, but it's like, or all of it. But it's I just think that I don't know where the world stands on him as
Like,
much
has
as
he
I
been in
do
prison?
on Superman.
Like, has he been to prison before? Or, like,
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
He
I would agree with that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
one thing about Lex Luthor is that like Lex Luthor could literally cure cancer,
Yeah.
but won't.
Yeah.
He'll never do it.
And,
Yeah,
and
it's
to be
like-
clear,
Mhm.
Nicholas Holt I think is fucking fantastic. He's
Yeah.
so great, and
It's
the
amazing.
bit where he's shouting out the final numbers, the 1A. Other people have mentioned this, but I caught it in the viewing as well. Where it's like 1A is just punching Superman in the face. It's the very first thing he thought of. It's the first code he thought to put in was like just punch him in the face. Like
Yeah.
that's perfect. It's so petty. That's so funny.
That is funny. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess let's start wrapping up with final thoughts. We can start with you, Jordan, but I want to read out some tweets really quickly.
Yeah.
Had a lot of responses, so thank you
It's
to
been
everyone.
fun, by the way.
Oh
yeah, no, this has been
Good
great. I
having
wish we
you.
could do this for 1,000 hours, but I know we all gotta call it soon.
Yeah.
Our boy Chris Barrera said they absolutely adored it. And the Xer Chris said not perfect, and I certainly have some issues with it, but it just soars to the kinds of heights I've really always imagined to see from the character on the screen. Can't help but admire it. Graham Harwell said, thumbs up, made me love the character the way I never have before in live action. Enjoyed every other character as well. Excited to see more. On more mixed results, Yoshi's publicist said, I think it's fine. First and last act kind of had a lot going on, but the second act is 3 greater than signs. Eric Lawrence, friend of the show, hopped on for their Halloween movie fundraiser, which was fantastic, and I can't wait to see that film completed. They said they loved. So, I definitely think it's a little more mixed online. I think the general public seems to have really enjoyed it. We'll see how it legs out. Not to be box office brain, but
Mhm.
I think it's important to talk about in terms of like, well, are you going to get any more of these? This is the only time I think it's kind of important to talk about that stuff. And the last one I'll just bring up is that our buddy at Mumbles3K, Mike Schindler, said, in a lot of ways, it did what Batman Begins did for me in that it presented the Superman comic I always saw in my head.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the bottom line here is that a lot of people had fun with this movie. There's always going to be some haters. I mean, I think Superman is just is kind of like a weirdly divisive character. I mean, it's a character that's been around for over 75 years, and like soon it's going to be in public. What's it called? Public domain soon. So this is a character that is, but I think it mostly, for the most part, delivered. I hope it does well this weekend. I hope kids see it. I hope people can be really inspired by this movie, and with everything kind of going on, just basic, regardless of what your race, ethnicity, religion, political affiliation, it's like, just be kind to one another. Like at the very least, despite whatever criticisms I had with the movie, or anybody has with the movie, the message in it is something that I think it's absurd to not align with. So that's my main takeaway.
Very well said. Gene, take us home. What do you got?
Yeah, no, I was glad it just lived up to my expectations. Just as a comic book fan, I was just glad to just see just the version of the character I wanted to see on screen. Just just the movie just being just being a fun movie, accessible. I guess I mean it's doing well, so that's nice. And yeah, just kind of like, okay, like I'm not alone to die on this hill. Like this is a good character.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah.
yeah, just seeing like a general audience react to this, I'm like, yes, this is really amazing. Because yeah, the DC universe is like, it's fun. They're great comics. I love Marvel, but it's like there's other companies besides Marvel, and it's just to just see like, okay, like other people appreciate like just crazy aspects of this universe, like Crypto or Metamorpho. I'm like, yes, these characters are amazing. This is it's a good comic franchise, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's clearly so much to talk about here that we didn't even mention Lois Lane. I think Rachel Brosnahan's great. This will be my last thing. I won't go over the rest of the movie, but terrific
Perfect
Lois
casting.
Lane.
That's the casting where when we all heard about it, we were like, oh,
Yep.
great.
Yep.
No notes.
Oh yeah, no, she kills. If anything, I want more of her in the movie. Streets are saying that there was more of her. We'll see.
Look, I'm pretty sure, judging by how that spaceship looked that she was driving, I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of footage that was left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll if it's out there, we'll hear more about it. Yeah, terrific casting. No notes. She could have her own movie. Superman can be in it, of course, but it's like that's how much I love her and the Lois Lane character. So props to that. And clearly we have more thoughts on the movie that we're just gonna talk about forever, which I guess is a sign of like at least a great time. Jordan, thanks so much for joining us again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can people hear your thoughts on this and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, just follow me on Instagram, JAY_Mitch92. You'll see my stand-up on there. Yeah, and then once you find me on there, then you'll probably find a link to my TikTok. I don't know my TikTok offhand, but yeah, that's pretty much just find me there, people. At the moment.
Thank you so much for joining again, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this was a blast. I always love your stand-up clips that you share and everything. So
you.
yeah,
They're great.
yeah, keep going, man. Stand-up is fucking. I don't know how you people do it. Like we had another stand-up comedian on here, and she was like, "Oh, it's just stand-up," and I'm like, "I don't know how you do it. This is crazy. Like standing up in front of people, telling jokes, and being good at it also goes a long way." So just
it's a thing, man. It's a thing.
Yeah. So just you're
Appreciate
stronger
you.
than I. Yeah, Gene. Like anything specific you want to plug before I just wrap this up for good?
No, I don't think so. Just follow me on just socials, Gene9892. Yeah.
All right. Links down to everything below, including my socials. Check out the Waffle Press on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon. Get early access to some special retrospective episodes coming out. More Superman talk headed your way. I got some thoughts on Hellboy for the early patrons, so stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe. We have been professionally unprofessional. And thanks for tuning into the live stream. This was really great.
Yeah.
A lot of